Hey everyone, my name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. I am excited to have one of my best friends on the show today. His name is Harold Love. He's an awesome guy. He is the kind of guy that, like everybody that knows him thinks he's a good guy, and that's a very rare thing. Usually you can find someone like, I don't know about that guy. Harold's a pretty solid guy. He is a retired police officer, so I won't hold that against him. He's currently working in the mental health field. And so I'll let Harold, why don't you tell us about yourself, like maybe a little bit about your history as a police officer and how that led you into your career right now.
Yeah, so I served, well, good morning, everybody, first of all. I served 25 years with the Michigan State Police, retired as a captain in 2013. Early in my career, working as a trooper, I experienced a few critical incidents back to back, meaning just really exposed to some pretty traumatic stuff. And as you know, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel do, we just keep on trucking and keep going back to work, every day and just bury all that stuff. Well, the latest of the ones that I experienced was me actually hitting a 10-year-old boy with my patrol car as I was responding to a call. And after that incident, my commander not insisted, but encouraged me to go and see our departmental psychologist. I did. He helped me to get on the other side of those things, but also realized that some of the incidents that had happened prior to that one were affecting me even more than this one that had just happened. So I was able to go on and have a good, fulfilling 25-year career. But as I grew through the ranks and just mentoring younger officers, other, troopers, and even people in the community, I realized how underserviced we are in the area of mental health services, meaning just not enough clinicians who understand the culture. In my case, it was the law enforcement culture, but other communities that I've served, mental health clinicians who don't necessarily understand their culture. So we're not able to effectively help them or serve them. So that prompted me in 2011 to go back to grad school and get my grad degree in mental health counseling. Got licensed, got some extra training and certification in psychological testing and assessment, also critical incident stress management. So I started my practice in 2014 after I retired. I service police agencies, firefighters. I service about 40 agencies here in Southeast Michigan. And I do pre-employment psych evals, critical incident stress debriefings, individual therapy, and behavioral health education, primarily for public safety professionals, but we also serve members of the general public as well.
That's awesome. And so the reason I had you on today is, in the first responder community, most of us are men. And so now most men aren't seeing, death and destruction on a daily basis, but I don't think you have to have a buildup of stress. So maybe you could talk to us about what stress is, and then maybe distinguish that between like post-traumatic stress disorder and just post-traumatic stress, and just maybe we can get a better understanding of what stress is and then how it leads to a disorder versus, is it always bad to have stress, and like kind of just what stress is and how and what the difference between that and having a disorder is.
Yeah, so if you read about stress, you'll read things like eustress and distress, where eustress is the positive or good stress, and distress is the negative stress. So I won't go into all that, but basically we're talking about acute stress. Right now I'm stressed because something just happened. I need to react and take care of it, either resolve an issue, protect myself, keep something bad from happening, that sort of thing. And that's, good stress that drives you to act now and deal with something. But the other stress that we're talking about, and I like to call it cumulative stress, where just dealing with everyday life and allowing things to build up. Problems that maybe you think about throughout the day, problems that keep you up at night, unresolved issues, unresolved conflicts, relationship issues and things like that. If we're not addressing those things and finding, effective ways of resolving those things, they tend to build up. And like you said, as men, and even, not just men, but, we're talking about men here. But so as men, we are the people who, we get things done, or, we protect other people. We help other people. We take care of other people, especially in public safety. That's who we are. That's what drove us to that profession. So for us to ask for help, I had one of my colleagues, Dr. Lamar Gardner, he always said that the dirtiest four-letter word in the vocabulary of a police officer is help, HELP. We don't ask for it, we give it. Right. So we just get accustomed to doing that. And as we go through life and it starts affecting us or manifesting itself in our behavior, in our attitudes, in our, our relationships with people, our performance in all kinds of ways, start manifesting itself in those ways. And we don't always realize it. We don't recognize it until, it's gotten so bad that somebody has to bring it to our attention. You've really been a difficult person lately, or you just don't seem to be yourself. I've had people tell me that, man, you look like you're 10,000 miles away. Right. Where are you? Where's the guy that I used to know, right, who used to light the room before you walk into a building? Now I can't find the light, anywhere in your eyes, that sort of thing. And it takes its toll after a while.
Yeah, I think it's important for men to recognize that just because you're stressed out doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Right? Like I think sometimes we feel like if we can't handle it because we're stressed, then I'm not manly enough, or I'm not, but that's not the case. I mean, you can't avoid stress, correct?
Right. No, you can't avoid stress. Our system is designed to protect us. Okay. So, if let's say you have a critical incident or something tragic happens in your life, or something heartbreaking or upsetting happens in your life. And so, our system is going to do whatever it takes to prevent us from experiencing that same thing again. Okay, so when we talk about, traumatic stress and post-traumatic stress disorder, let's say you encounter something that was very tragic while working, or even just in your family. And so now there's this fear of experiencing that thing again. So, it's almost subconsciously your body, your mind will tell you, don't do that. Okay. Don't go in that direction because, you're going to experience that feeling or thought again. Don't drive down that street because a kid's going to run in front of your car again. Don't fall in love, because your heart's going to be broken again, and then we don't realize that, our body is acting or reacting to something that happened, and then those same sensations or emotions are being triggered by something that resembles that again. So we shy away from it, we stay away from it, and we're not really engaging in life. We're not living a fulfilling life because, again, our system is just causing us to avoid things that somehow we've come to believe will cause us to feel that same negative experience or sensation when that other thing happened 8, 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Right. Do you think that, so we have stress and that can be negative if it's not dealt with. Do you think stress can make you stronger? And the reason I say that, I have this theory like about my grandparents. I think about my grandparents' generation, the greatest generation. They went to World War II, they defended freedom, and they came back and they created, like in the United States, an amazing place, with innovation and growth and all those things. And part of me thinks, well, probably because they went and they experienced the Depression, and then they went to World War II, and they came back, and the ones that were able to successfully deal with the stress and overcome it through, community and family and faith and all that. How do you stress out a World War II vet? When he was in a foxhole getting shot at, he was successfully able to overcome that. Is that a thing, or is there reality that stress can make you stronger if you deal with it?
No, so it can make you stronger, and and strength is relative. Okay, it makes me stronger. I'm resilient. I can deal with anything. I'm seen as that person who's gonna take on anything and who will knock down walls and not show that anything is affecting me and that sort of thing. And I could do that and take it all the way to my grave. But we never know what those individuals have buried, what they have sacrificed, what they have decided to put aside and not deal with. You take people, I use Oprah a lot, okay? We didn't know much about her other than that she was this mega super, talk show host and now, an amazing philanthropist and all that stuff. But when she disclosed to the world about being abused and all the things that, the tragedies that she went through, and for her, that stress caused her to just, drive forward to become mega successful. Yet she still had things that she had never dealt with. And then she let the world see her, start disclosing these things and finally resolve those issues. Mm-hmm. And it made her healthier emotionally, physically, everything, so there are people who never get to that place. They just charge on, and you never know what their life has been like and what it's been about. But on the outside, they seem like an ultra successful, ultra confident person and that sort of thing. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but yeah, you take, our war vets who have come home and turn that energy into getting things done and making things happen. Yet some of those individuals, if you ever get an opportunity to have a one-on-one where they feel like it's safe to disclose some of the emotional scars that they have, it can be pretty difficult for them and pretty gut-wrenching things that you'd hear from them.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this question, maybe a more detailed question. So, we're talking to guys and we all experience stress, financial stress, job-related, kid-related, all these little things. And there's probably some level of stress that it's okay and it's acceptable and it's not damaging us. As a man, how do I know when it's been too much? Like if I was working out and I had a little sore back because I was deadlifting, I might just take some Motrin and be okay. Where if it's not good, I've got pain radiating down my leg and I've got numbness, I need to go see a doctor. You being the doctor, when do we know as men that, hey, what I've experienced is too much, I'm not handling it effectively, and I need to go get help? What are some of the things? I know you mentioned, you're not being the same person, but do you have any other details? Like as a man, if you're doing this, and this, you've probably experienced one thing that was too big or multiple things that have built up, and now you need to go get help. You need to go talk to somebody. What are those things?
No one size fits all, because what might be your tipping point or your threshold, may not even be close to my threshold. In other words, in order for me to get to a tipping point or a breaking point, come on, I've got loads and loads more stuff that I can take on. And it's just what I've become accustomed to. And I'm not speaking of me particularly, but, what I have come accustomed to, what my life has been about, what I've been taught, what are the things that have been instilled in me. But when it starts affecting, how you're living life, how am I being in my relationships with other people? Am I short-tempered? Am I irritable? Am I, intolerant of things that I would normally be very tolerant of? Am I taking care of myself? What does my self-care look like? Am I gaining weight and I'm just chalking it up to, I'm getting older, or am I not sleeping well? And it's like, I just don't sleep well. We kind of dismiss things and just kind of cast them off as it is what it is. But a lot of times that can be that cumulative stress manifesting itself in our lives. So, if people, who are close to you and who know you are bringing things to your attention, like, man, you really seem like you're dealing with a lot, take a self-assessment, take a look at yourself. How have I changed? How has the way I've been interacting with my children or with my family changed? And if it has, and only only you can tell yourself, really. Other people can say things, but when you really do that self-assessment and you say, wow, you know what? They're right. It's time to start maybe talking to somebody and getting some of the things out and kind of peeling back the onion, as we call it,
So when a guy says, things aren't right and I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to take some action, and they come to talk to somebody like you, what does that process look like? Is it, am I sitting on a couch and you're asking me, to draw pictures of random things? Are you hypnotized? Like, what is counseling? What is, working through an issue? What is this, like, what does that look like? If someone has never gone to therapy, what does therapy look like for when they come to talk to a professional like you?
When you first walk in, you drink this smoothie. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's first I have to establish a rapport with a client. In other words, Danny, you come in and I need to make sure that that you get a sense that I'm somebody you want to work with. In other words, I create an environment where you feel like it's safe for you to be yourself and safe for you to disclose and talk about whatever might come to mind. And that may take a few sessions, of me maybe sharing some things about myself, me helping you get to a place where you see and believe that I understand where you're coming from, or that I'm making a very concerted effort to understand who you are. So once I do that and establish that rapport, I want to know, first of all, what you're having challenges with, what is it that caused you to come in and see a therapist? And then I'm going to take a slow walk through your entire life. When do you remember life being a bowl of cherries, or life being, just good, and you weren't stressed about anything, and, there was laughter in your life and things like that? When was that? Sometimes it may have been 20 years ago. Sometimes it may have been when you were 15 and now you're 55. All right. And now we want to take a walk through what has transpired over time to get you to this place where you are right now. All right. And that's a very slow walk. That could take weeks of hourly sessions. All right. And then from there, you help me understand, Daddy, what does it need to look like in your life for you to feel like, okay, I'm living again. I'm functional in all areas of my life again. I'm feeling good. I've gotten where I want to be. It doesn't do you any good for me to say, Danny, this is where you need to be. Mm-hmm. This is what your life needs to look like. This is what you need to feel like. No, I want to know from you, what do you need to feel like, and what does it need to look like for you? And as far as how you're functioning, how you're interacting with people, that sort of thing, in order for you to say, Harold, I'm good. You've helped me get on track, and I think I can take it from here. All right. And then from there, I develop a plan. And this is where my education and my experience and skill set comes into play. Develop a plan that you and I can agree on, that I'm going to help hold you accountable for you to execute that plan. And sometimes that starts, I had a client the other day, starts with simply making a list of the things you used to love to do, and you haven't done any of them in 4, 5, 6 years. Mm-hmm. And when we start thinking about those and talking about those things, you can see people light up. It's like, wow, I've forgotten that I used to do that, and I loved it. Right. Well, why haven't you done it in 10 years? Well, because this, because that. Okay, I want you to commit to writing those things down, and let's start scratching some of those things off that list. Yeah. There's a book called The Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement, written by Dr. Kevin Gill Martin, and he calls it his list of I used to's, the things I used to love to do, but I don't know more because of the job, because my wife, because, all these commitments and obligations, because of my health, because, and it's like, no, I'm going to make a commitment to do this for myself. I'm going to go bowling with my friends within the next 2 weeks, and that Friday on that date, and I'm going to keep that appointment with myself, and I'm going to make it happen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go fishing, on Saturday, February so-and-so. Right. And you keep that appointment with yourself, So we'll make concessions to do everything else for everybody else and all these obligations that we have. But when it comes to committing to doing something for ourselves and taking care of ourselves, we don't. And before you know it, you're no longer engaging in anything that's enjoyable, And we're talking good, clean, fun, simple things. Yeah. But if you really take a self-inventory, I would bet that a lot of listeners right now can name, several things that they used to love to do and don't know why they don't do them anymore.
No, that's awesome. Speaking of doing things, let's talk about, obviously therapy is important if you've got too much and it's changed you. What are some things that guys can do on a daily basis so they don't get this, so that they have a release? I was involved with a small group, and someone asked me, how do you deal with the really bad things you see, and it doesn't destroy you? And I actually I'd think about that. I'm like, I didn't really know, right? One of the things I mentioned is what? All the events that I experienced with other people, other firefighters. And so we were able to talk about that's very helpful, that I'm not by myself. So, one, the social community aspect, but what are some of the other things that you could, prescribe to a man that really help eliminate the stress? Because stress is obviously psychological, but it's also chemical and physical, right? There is when you get stressed, cortisol levels go up, and your heart rate goes up, and your blood pressure goes up, and all these things happen. And that was really good when we were, being chased by wolves. But now when it's just you're mad at traffic and there's no way to get rid of those chemicals, there's, that's bad. It's not designed like that. So what are some maybe daily practices that men could do to prevent getting to the point where they need counseling, where they need a therapist, where they need intervention?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, exercise is one, and Danny, I know that you preach this all the time, and we talk about it all the time. But just engaging in and fulfilling recreational activities. It may be going for a hike, through your favorite trail. It doesn't have to be, going to Crunch Fitness and pushing weights for 90 minutes. But physical activity that gets your blood flowing, that gets your heart rate up, that causes your body to produce the endorphins and the dopamine and the things that make us feel good chemically, as you talked about. But so yeah, just physically engaging in those things, engaging in fellowship with like-minded people, whether it's your Christian small group, whether it's your fellow firefighters, or maybe your siblings, or maybe some high school friends or college buddies that, if you get around them, we're going to have some good, clean fun, or, whatever works for you. But those are the kind of things that you can do to combat, the negative things that happen chemically in our body, from stress and things like that. And engaging in hobbies that are enjoyable to you. Maybe you like cooking and you haven't taken the time to set aside 4 hours to prepare, a nice meal that, you and somebody else is going to really enjoy, whatever it takes for you. Like I said, I mentioned fishing a lot. That's one that does it for me, and I don't do it enough.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if that answers.
No,
your question.
yeah. So be active. What you're saying is, I think this is important as especially fathers. I think we get this mindset that we need to take care of everybody, and we do. We have I think a moral obligation to financially support, emotionally support. We're supposed to do that. But we do that at the expense of becoming who we actually are. And I think a lot of us lose ourselves in this period of busyness where you're taking the kids to practice and you're doing this and you're doing that, but you're not taking care of you. And by not taking care of you, you're not the person, you're not the man that your wife married. You become somebody else, and that's not who she wanted. She wanted the guy who used to go play basketball once a week and was healthy and excited about that, and we lose that. I think we lose that, and when we lose it, for me, I know when I've been my most busiest, and I've done zero things that really bring me joy, and I'm not saying parenting doesn't bring me joy, but it's not me. That's when I've been my most stressed. That's when I have been shortest temper and all that. So we really do have to take care of ourselves, and it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Like it doesn't have to be like if you're going fishing every day, you're probably not actually doing what you need to do. You're running from it. And that's probably the opposite end, where some guys get stressed out and they just run away from all responsibility, right? They get out, they have relationships outside of marriage. They get a hobby. Like I joke about ice fishing. I have this theory on ice fishing. So ice fishing, I think that, out of everywhere that ice fishes, 5% of people that ice fish love fishing. They just have this immense desire to go fishing. The other 95% just want to get away from the wife and kids because who wants to sit inside of a shanty in the freezing cold and look down a hole in the ice? That's my theory. And some guys run that way, don't you think?
Yeah. No, I do. And so, I had a friend of mine tell me once, they're always having guys trips or outings and things like that. Sometimes it's golf, sometimes it's going somewhere just to have fun. And mine, I'm very guilty of that. No, I got to do this. No, I need to do this. No, the kids have this going on. No. And one of them pulled me aside and say, listen, man, in order for you to be the best you, not only for yourself, but for those who depend on you, you've got to take care of yourself. You got to get away and do this once in a while. We're a group of guys, we're all married, and, we're not going to be up to no good,
right.
So, make yourself say yes, from time to time. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're probably not somebody that those who are depending on you really want to be around anyway. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. That's solid.
We owe it to ourselves to do things that are going to make us, enjoy life and live a fulfilling life. And then we owe it to others who are in constant contact with us, whether it's those our loved ones who depend on us, or whether it's people that we're serving, in our jobs, or people that we're dealing with, maybe, working in a job where you're in customer service. We owe it to those people to be the best us, best version of ourselves that we can. And if we're not taking care of ourselves and doing those things that we know are fulfilling, then we're not holding up our end of the bargain.
No, that's awesome, Harold. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about?
Just sometimes, we're real quick to say, I got it. I got this. I've been doing this for a long time. I've got it, but it's important to listen. I had a friend of mine. We were away, and on an island, and you know who I'm talking about. But he took a candid picture of me and didn't send it to me for about 2 weeks later and said, "Where you at? You look like you're 10,000 miles away. Here we are in one of the most beautiful places on this planet. We're sitting here chilling with some friends and things like that. And you look like you're 10,000 miles away." And I said, "Wow, it's that bad, huh?" He says, "Yeah. Yeah, I miss that guy I used to know."
Yeah.
And so I share that very personal, snippet to say that, sometimes we think we're doing all right. We think we're doing it right. Think we're hitting on all cylinders. And if we just put a mirror up that we take an honest look at, it's like, wow. I don't feel the way I like to feel. I don't look the way I like to look. And my mind is not where I like it to be. Yeah. And then it's important to move on that and start talking to somebody, get some help. It doesn't always have to be professional help, but sometimes it does. Somebody who's skilled at helping you to peel back the onion and take a real honest assessment of yourself, and then put together a plan to help you get, over those things and get back to living life, enjoying and engaging in this life that you've worked so hard to create. Yeah. We can work so hard to earn money, so hard to build this, to secure that, and create this, quote, wonderful lifestyle. But if we're not engaged in that lifestyle, it might as well be nothing.
No, Harold, that's awesome. For anybody that lives in Metro Detroit, are you taking clients? Is that something you're actively doing?
I do. So because I'm the practice owner and I'm trying to learn and do the things that I need to do to be a better entrepreneur and stop killing myself, in my practice. I have other therapists who work in my practice. I see a limited amount of clients, but I spend most of my time developing business and generating, work and contracts and things like that. Gotcha. But
if someone wanted to work with your group, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Psychology Today. That's psychologytoday.com. And there's a number there to my office. My practice is listed there, Harold J. Love and Associates. And then I also have a website, which is currently suspended. It's under reconstruction, but that's haroldjlove.com, which hopefully it'll be back up within a few weeks here. But the best way to find me is Psychology Today or on LinkedIn.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, Harold, this has been awesome. If you're a man and you're listening to this, you need someone. Well, you need two things. I think you need a group of men in your life that can say something like, "Hey, man, you look like you're 1,000 miles away." Find that group. I think that is just so important. I know for me, it has been literally the difference between life and death. I think my mental security and health is because I have people like Harold in my life, that I've got a group of guys that I work with that understand me. So get that. Take that action and find that. And two, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like when I don't know how to do something electrical in my house, I have got an electrician friend I call a therapist. Find someone that you can go and get help, and someone like Harold is phenomenal. So if you're local and you need help, reach out to Harold. If not, find somebody else. I think it's so important. So this has been the Earn Your Title podcast, and my name is Danny Dumas. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.